We're basically gonna attempt to flood the boat.
We have the second bilge pump, which is the emergency one that I just rigged up.
What's up? What's so funny, my love?
You're such a nerd.
Live your wildest dreams.
See, Mom? We're not gonna flood at sea.
Hi, my name is Kenna, and this is Jay. We live aboard our Choi Lee Offshore 41. Her name is Sitka. Currently, we are sailing and exploring our beautiful home here on Vancouver Island in British Columbia, Canada. I'm new to sailing, but I'm learning and loving it more and more each day. Jay, on the other hand, was born a salty sailor. As he takes me under his wing to get ready to sail around the world, join us on our adventure of falling in love with the beauty of life and the wonders of each other. Welcome to the story of us, and welcome to Sailing Sitka.
Are you excited for the best unboxing video with Daddy Safari?
Okay, where are you getting this from?
Ooh, Daddy!
It literally says fragile on the box. Careful.
Well, it's gonna come in the open ocean, so you better get ready. Ooh, baby! So we already have a 300 watt solid solar panel, but now we're adding this 100 watt flexible one on top of the Dodger, so that's exciting. And I already have the Victron and PPT charge controller for it, because I used to have a smaller one for my old 100 watt panels that when I replaced the 300 I had to get a bigger charge controller, so it's been waiting in standby all this time, and now it's going to come into action. And this is a good brand, like, because I've bought the cheap ones like on Amazon before. I'm not gonna name the brands, but they were fucking terrible. Like, honestly, they lasted 1 year, and then like the output was never what it was rated at, and within a year, like, they were disintegrated. And I mean, they were like $200 panels for a 100 watt panel, versus this was $300, but the reviews are like impeccable on it, and they have a 5-year warranty, which is good for a flexible panel. So I'm looking forward to testing that out. So you'll see that at some point. At some point, you'll see Big Daddy Safari installing this piece of awesomeness.
Well, guess what? It's time for solar panel install. Alright, so here's the panel. So it's a sun power. So it's a 100 watt flexible solar panel. And I'm not sponsored by any means by this brand, although I would like to. One thing I do really like about this panel is that a lot of these panels, some of them actually come with actually no grommets at all, which is actually like straight up a coconut move, but a lot of them only come with 4, so at each corner. But what I like about this panel is the included grommets in the middle, and that's really useful, because one thing that destroys these panels prematurely is when it gets really windy and air gets in between whatever it's mounted to in the panel. These vibrate themselves and it'll crack the cells. So it's actually nice to see that this company has added these grommets in the middle. So good job, SunPower, on that. And then let's go see what I just did outside. I just brought the panel outside, and I'll show you guys where it's going to be mounted. So follow me on deck here as we come. All right, so now we're in front of the Dodger, and I just put it fits perfectly here, and then I just marked with a Sharpie everywhere where I'm gonna drill. So I'm gonna oversize drill these holes. You guys know the process probably at this point. Oversize drill, tape the bottom, filled with thick and epoxy, and then we're gonna drill the correct size holes and mount it. So it's sunny today, but it's gonna rain tonight, so we got the fast cure epoxy, so I'll do that right now, and then I'll work on actually wiring the MPPT controller with the fuse and all that, and then passing the wires for the MC4 connectors, which are these here, I'll show you. So these guys here, so I just bought a 30-foot loop. If I can get it out of this box. So right here. So there's a male and female. So this will connect to here on the outside. And then it has to come inside the boat. So that goes in our main cabin. And we'll have to, I already started, but we'll have to open this liner more up. And then there's a wire chase here that's already too full. And then this is the battery compartment. So it's going to go in here. And then it's going to come, the battery compartment is basically behind here. And then it's going to come out. And it's going to come through here. This is for a 300 watt panel that we have there. And then I have a separate MPPT controller, a 1575 I believe, from that I used to use previously, that I've been storing for when I got the new panel. So I'm going to mount this here, and then all the wires are going to go through on that side. So, and the fuses are on this side of the bulkhead. So anyways, let's get this show started. Introducing from the yellow corner, solar panel. All right, you've seen this before, but drilled the holes, so it's already done. Taped the bottom, so 6 holes total. And then I'll show you guys what it looks like on the other side. And then just filled them with thickened epoxy, as you can see. Same as the other side. All right, I won't bore you too much with this stuff, as I think we've covered that enough in previous episodes. So if you guys want to see the whole epoxying and drilling holes smaller and chamfering the holes and all that shadoodle. I'm making words up here. All right, Kenna's gonna cut that out. Anyways, so let's do some electrical now. So I'm gonna bring my little hand towel, my friend. I named it. That's not true. I'm lying to you guys. I didn't name it. I'm gonna name it though. We name everything on this boat. All right, so let's start pulling this liner out. And you can see it looks kind of shabby in here, and that's because you can see the amount of wires here. So it's not a priority, but it's something down the list. Probably when we're in Mexico and we're chilling, drinking bottomless margaritas, maybe we'll do that project. So this used to be an old Dorade box, and this is the solar panel wiring for the 300 watt panel. You can see there, and it comes down here and goes through there and then goes inside this little bunghole. Oh my god, that's gonna sound lovely on your ears. Put in some music, hunters. All right, so then it goes down inside our cabin. So basically I'm gonna put the MC4 wires in there right now, so that's going to be ready to go. And yeah, that's going to be my project for today. So I'm going to do all the wiring today, except actually connecting it to the panel, because the epoxy needs some time to cure before we can drill a hole. So, and I think tomorrow is going to rain, but if it doesn't pour rain, I'll be able to come drill that, install the panel, and then just clip in the MC4, because the rest is going to be done. So yeah, it's Friday afternoon. Just released last week's episode today, so that's cool. And hope to see you guys soon. All right, so this is what we're dealing with. So this is the wire chase, and as you can tell, it's getting a bit busy in here. These are the last wires I passed through for the 300 watt panels 2 years ago. And I remember having to drill the holes for the wires in there, and it was a nightmare because you don't want to hit other wires. So I'm going to have to do the same again, which I'm not a fan of. And then yeah, it comes in here in the battery compartment. So anywho, drilling next to electrical wires, never fun, not recommended, but gotta do what you gotta do. Gotta do what you gotta do on boat. So let's get going. If this is my last message to you, live your wildest dreams. Bye! All right. Well, the magic of the internet. It's been, I think, an hour and a half since we've last spoken, and everything's put back together. I didn't bring you along for the whole adventure there. One thing that's for sure is this liner's gotta go. It's getting too thick here, so I might actually cut this and make a cool little plate, and maybe have a what's the word, Jay? Oh yeah, a bus bar. So I want a bus bar here so I can terminate all my stuff here. That goes in the cockpit because I want to add lights and stuff. So I think I'll make myself a little nice wooden box here and something. So it's gonna make more sense. And then that chaseway, I couldn't screw it back down, see the gap because there's too many wires. So I'll basically just bridge this with another piece of wood. So this nice teak cover is gonna get pushed outwards like that, and I'll just put a another piece here to make it thicker. And I might use I don't know if I have teak that size. I might. If not, I'll use maple. I kind of like when there's two-tone colors. So everything's wired in here. It's really tight in there, and to be fair, it's a bit messy. It's all done to standard, but it's a bit messy, so I'm not super happy about it. Once we're in Mexico, that's one of my projects. I want to take all the electrical apart and then make everything nicely organized with bus connectors and all the, like all the wires like coming down all straight like that. It's going to be very nice for my A-type personality. But so here's our previous one that was already there, and now we got the one for the 100-watt panel. And as you can see, you'll see a little blue light, meaning that it's getting power, not from the panel because the panel's not there because the epoxy still got to cure before I drill the holes and put the panel, blah blah blah. So right now the wiring going to the batteries is done. So we got some 14 gauge wire going from the positive to the positive battery with a fuse in between, and then we have the negative going to the negative pole on the battery bank. And then we already have our wires here for the solar panel, which are gonna come in here. So just waiting to put the solar panel, but it's gonna be quite simple. All we have left to do basically is drill the holes in the thickened epoxy and bolt that panel on, and then all the wiring, everything's already passed up outside. So as you can see, there's the new wires there, double set going out, and the loop is up there. So all we gotta do is basically plug them in. So tomorrow we should have a whole new panel installed. So that went pretty smoothly. See the boat's kind of torn apart, got shit going around everywhere. That stuff usually lies between your door. We got stuff there, stuff there, stuff there, it's the way she goes. Good morning, everyone. So I just wanted to show you, we installed a solar panel yesterday, so there's some morning dew on it. But yeah, it fits perfectly on there. So we have the 300-watt solid one and then the semi-flexible one. And what's cool is you can't really see it. You see it from here, but let's say you're at the water line around the dock. Can't really tell it's there, so that's kind of cool. And yeah, so the wire run, I just went through where I had the previous one. So it goes in here, and then it comes down here, follows the other ones, goes down in there, and then goes inside here, and goes in this clamp, which I'll actually epoxy this. I was waiting to put the other panel before I did this. Then this goes inside. Follow me down. We're going to Harry Potter's closet. All right, so down here, this goes there. I haven't restapled this because, like I've explained before, it's kind of a mess here. So I'll make a termination box here where there'll be like bus bars, and I need to widen this. And then I need to add some wires here for alarms and for lights in the cockpit, anyways. So I'm not gonna reinstall this and have to dismantle it again in a week. So, and then it terminates the battery for charging, and then on this side goes to our MPPT controller Victron so as you can see, I labeled it 100-watt panel. This one's for the 300-watt. And what's cool about those panels is that, and my battery charger is also a Victron, is that you can just come here on your device list on your Bluetooth. I don't know if you can see. And then this is the 7515, which is the new panel. And we're making 36 watts right now at 9:26 a.m., which is pretty good. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. So now we have a full-on redundant system. So if ever one panel or one MPPT controller was to fail, now we have a second set. And while I'm talking, explaining all this, Kenna's making fun of me.
我早我修欢迎没了。
You're such a nerd.
I'm not a nerd.
You are.
You're a nerd.
Oh my god.
So we're basically gonna attempt to flood the boat. Now we want to test our new bilge pump setup. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this hose and we're gonna flood the bilge, but we're gonna turn our normal bilge pump, so our main bilge pump, we're gonna turn it to off so it won't go off the float switch, and then we'll see if our high water alarm and our high water output bilge pump kicks in automatically. So the one that I've installed, so let's test her out. It's gonna take a little while to fill the bilge to that level, because as you can see, this bilge pump is quite a bit higher than the other one, but still lower than the starter motor. So let's fill this bilge up.
I don't know, I'm so scared.
Alright, here we go.
This feels so wrong.
When, hun, you gotta go at the back of the boat and make sure it's spitting water out.
Okay.
Okay, let's rig this like there. There we go. Okay, let's add more water. And look where the bilge pump is. It's getting close to the top of the yellow.
It's not close yet.
Huh?
It's not close yet. I see it though.
Tell me when it touches the yellow. Is it touching the yellow?
It's touching the bottom of the yellow.
Tell me when it goes over the yellow. Maybe we should have warned our neighbors they'll think we're flooding for real. Maybe they'll notice we got a hose inside the boat.
Oh, it's kicking on.
Huh?
I can hear it kicking on.
The pump?
It did a little irk. I really want it to go on soon.
Huh?
I want it to go on soon. That's high.
Huh?
That's high.
I want to see what
Yeah, can you come up?
Show me the flashlight? Oh. Oh yeah, it's not there yet. It's not there yet.
Oh, it's so much water.
As long as it's not even close. The starter motor, so we're good. Okay. Is that about to touch the yellow?
The yellow's halfway underwater.
So much water gets in there.
Okay, it's touching the white now.
Should be almost there. Did the pump kick off?
No, it's on auto. Okay, it's touching the white now. Yeah, there it goes.
My water bilge alarm. Is the pump kicking off?
Go check.
Huh?
Go check.
Yeah, go check.
Oh! Yeah! Yeah! It's coming! Woo-hoo, baby!
Then the other pump should kick off to go see at the back on the left.
Yep.
That's our normal bilge pump that I turned back on.
That was actually so nerve-wracking, not gonna lie. Just actively trying to flood the boat.
It's crazy how much water it took.
Yeah, that was a lot of water.
Is it still coming out at the back?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you want to go turn the hose off for now?
Seeing that much water inside the bilge was terrifying, but that just shows that it works. See, Mom? We're not gonna flood at sea. And if you can see the aftermath, it's all dry all throughout. Yay!
All right. So after 6 years of designing and thinking about what I wanted for the ultimate offshore bilge pump setup on Sitka, this is what I came up with. So as you've seen probably throughout this episode, we're not 100% done with the full install yet, but this is what I had in mind. And these lessons come from the experience that I've gathered from my previous sailboat sailing offshore, as well as my trip on a tall ship that I did for months at sea. So on my previous sailboat, when I sailed to San Francisco and to Hawaii and to Mexico, we ran in multiple scenarios where our bilge pump setup was inadequate. The bilge setup on my previous boat was also quite different than on this boat. It was very shallow, and therefore a lot of times we ended up having water come over the floorboards, which was a pain in the bum. But one thing that I'm also happy about is that I waited a few years before actually designing this bilge setup, meaning that I actually sailed this boat in various conditions, including really rough conditions. One thing I noticed when sailing in rough condition with this boat is the way the bilge is designed, because it's so narrow width-wise. It doesn't take much water to create kind of a wave inside the deep part of the bilge. And with the float switch, what it does is that it makes the pump cycle on and off non-stop, even when there's only like maybe an inch of water when you're in rough seas. So with only an inch of water in the very shallow part of the bilge, which is not a lot, it's maybe a liter of water, it causes the main bilge pump to cycle on and off all the time, which can ultimately burn your pump, and also just not good, and it burns your batteries. So one thing to mitigate that is that little cheap diaphragm pump that we mounted on the top, that I'm still waiting on the little inline filter to finalize the plumbing install for that. But that way we can always use the on and off switch on the panel to pump the last inch of water, therefore reducing the stress on our main bilge pump. So anyways, I'm gonna show you on paper. Hopefully this is kind of clear to you guys. So here is basically Sitka's bilge. So you have the forward bilge, which is connected to the aft bilge via this pipe. But the engine bilge is separate from the forward and aft bilge unless water goes past these little retaining wall on either side, which in real life are about 4 inches wide, tall. And the reason for that is that if ever you have oil or gas or any chemicals leaking out of your engine, it doesn't automatically go in your main bilge and then get pumped out into the ocean, which would be bad. But if ever water gets past that point, obviously there's an issue, and it's not oil or anything. It's like water coming in the boat and then needs to be pumped out. So the pipe here, like I said, connects the forward and aft bilge. Now we have our main bilge pump, which is automatic, but if ever that fails or doesn't have the capacity to deal with the amount of water ingressing the boat, then we have the second bilge pump, which is the emergency one that I just rigged up on that yellow platform, which is just above the top of the main one. And now if water reaches that platform, not only is this bilge pump going to kick off, but we're also going to get a visual and audible alarm down here in the cockpit. And we're also adding an alarm, which I have here in my stock of things that I have to install. So this guy here, which is another audible and light alarm, which is going to be wired separately in the cockpit. So whenever water reaches this pump, which is above the main one, we'll get both audible and visual alarms inside the cabin and outside of the helm. So even if the engine is going or it's blowing 40 knots, we will not miss that alarm. So that's our main bilge system set up for the main bilge. There's also that little diaphragm pump, which is mounted just above on here, and that can be turned on manually just to empty the last inch of water to prevent this pump from cycling at all times. Now, in case of an even bigger emergency and we need more pumping capacity, what I'm going to be doing is I have a shower diaphragm pump that I can turn on via switch in the shower, and that normally just pumps water from the shower pan to the outside of the boat. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a Y gate so I can shut the intake for the shower pan and open the intake for a hose that's going to be in the forward bilge, and then therefore turning the shower pump into an extra bilge pump and then pumping out the through hole that it's normally dedicated for the shower. So that adds us another emergency pump. Another thing I'd like to do in the future when we haul out is when I change the through hole for the main engine, I'm going to also add a Y gate system so that I can shut the through hull access to the raw water, so the ocean water, to cool the engine, and then open another hose that would just be inside the bilge with a mesh fitting on it so I don't suck in garbage or whatever could be floating inside my engine, but then turning the diesel engine into an emergency bilge pump, which would not be reliant on electricity at that point. It would just run until we lack the diesel fuel. So that's the ultimate setup. So we just need a few things to finalize that, but I'm really happy so far with what we got. And yeah, I think it's going to keep us safe. So thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, share with your friends, comment, and Big Daddy Safari out. Alright, so installing the plumbing on the last little diaphragm pump. So I got the tube going inside the bilge at the deep part. So that's to get the last inch, like I was explaining in the last week's video. And then I finally got my little inline filter today in the mail, so that's why we're doing this right now. So it goes in there, then it goes out, goes all the way in here, and goes through that hole I just had to do. And here's the rest of the tube. And then I had to make a nice little hole on the side of the sink, and this is where it's going to go, so we don't have to use another through hole. It's just going to pump into the the head sink. We have it in action, so it's pumping like literally the bottom inch, and then you can see it coming out in the sink here. Obviously it's almost empty now, so it's just burping a bit of water, but she working good. And then that's just a manual switch here. Boom.